A lot of people watched TV a lot in the late 1980s and early 1990s, and Sara Gilbert was always on. The part she played was Darlene Connor on the TV show Roseanne. She was great at being the snarky, smart, and outspoken girl that everyone loved to see. People remember the show even now because it was so popular. But what most fans didn't know was that Sara's real life was much more tough and complicated than what they saw on TV. There was a lot of fame in her family before she was born, so it looked like she was destined to be a star from the start. But her path wasn't easy at all. It was full of problems with who she really was, broken hearts from relationships that didn't work out, and the painful deaths of people she cared about. All of these things changed her life in ways that most people who watch her on TV didn't know or understand. Let's forget about Sara Gilbert's sitcom fame and laughs for a moment and focus on the hard facts and tough times that really shaped her life. Her birthday is January 29, 1975, and she was born in Santa Monica, California. A lot of well-known people live in this city near Los Angeles. She was born to Barbara Cowan and Harold Abels. And both of them came from very old and close-knit Jewish families. Harry Crane was her grandpa on her mom's side. He was the legendary creator of the iconic old TV show The Honeymooners. People used to really enjoy this show a long time ago. Miss Brooklyn was her grandma Pauline Crane. To win, she had to win a beauty pageant in Brooklyn, New York. Barbara was her mother, and she worked as both a director and a talent manager in Hollywood. In other words, she helped artists and actresses get parts in movies and TV shows. Being raised in this setting, Sara was exposed to a lot of show business tradition. However, she also felt the pressure that came with being a part of this famous family. Because of her family, everyone thought she would do great things. Her choice was very important when she was still a child, possibly 6 or 7 years old. She chose to switch her last name from Abels to Gilbert. She got this name from Paul Gilbert, who was her mother's first husband. Paul adopted 2 kids, Melissa and Jonathan Gilbert. They became well known on the TV show Little House on the Prairie. Due to their fame, Sara saw them get a lot of attention, get gifts from friends, and have a lot of chances. This made Sara very angry. She wanted the same things after reading it. They were famous, and she wanted to be famous too. She did it because she wanted to be successful like them, but that wasn't the only reason. She also did it because she wanted to live up to the family name. She wanted everyone to know that she was related to this famous family and could do as well as them. At the age of 5, which is about school age, she was in a TV ad for a Kool-Aid. You know those ads for drinks that play during cartoons? That was her first job. Her ticket out of regular school, which had always been very hard and unpleasant for her, was that small part. She later told everyone that she was miserable and unhappy in normal classrooms. She was always bored and didn't feel like she had anything to do with the studies or the other kids. Sara, who was young, thought it was a dream come true to have a tutor who could come to her house and teach her. She spent her time playing instead. The thing she really wished to do with her life. And even though she was determined and worked hard, she still felt alone and isolated. While her siblings Melissa and Jonathan were already well known, Sara felt like she still had something to show to everyone. She felt like she had to show she was just as good as them. During her childhood and teen years, that pressure became what drove her. It made her work even harder. By the time she was a teenager, about 13 years old, she had already booked the part that would make or break her career. From 1988 on, she played Darlene Connor on the popular TV show Roseanne. This is the part that everyone would remember her for. In 1988, Sara Gilbert got the part that would make her famous. She was only 13, which is about the age of a 7th or 8th kid. In other words, almost everyone in the US would know who she was. On the popular ABC series Roseanne, she played Darlene Connor. In the Aller Connor family, she played the middle child who was sassy and rude. Bluke, holler means that they were a poor working-class family. People all over the United States saw her character grow and change over the course of 9 seasons, from 1988 to 1997. As a child, she was a guy who liked sports and didn't care much for girly things. Then she became an artsy and politically aware teen who cared about things and liked to write and draw. And because of how well she did, she won 3 straight Young Artist Awards from 1991 to 1993. The fact that she won 3 years in a row shows how talented people thought she was. She was also up for an Emmy in 1993 and 1994. When it comes to TV work, Emmy Awards are some of the biggest prizes you can win. She even wrote an episode of the show called Don't Make Me Over, which aired in the 4th season. This was an early sign that she wanted to be artistic in more ways than just acting. She didn't just want to act out stories, she also wanted to write and make them up. But it wasn't easy for Sara to have all of this success at the same time. Take a look at this. While most teens were at home or at school dealing with being awkward, getting acne, and trying to figure out who they were. Every week, millions of people watched Sara on TV and had to go through all of that. After the fact, she told everyone that she was extremely shy, which may have surprised them since she was on TV. A lot of the time, she felt overcome by how much people loved her. Millions of people loved her. And the very real feeling of being alone as a kid. People might think that her fame was just fun and beautiful, but it wasn't. Instead, it made her feel alone and cut her off. She admitted that she hid from studio tour groups even when she was working on other TV shows, like the medical drama ER in the early 2000s. People from all walks of life came to the TV station in these groups. And she was too shy to let people watch her work. She would hide to keep them from seeing her. All of this was going on at the same time that Sara was determined to continue her studies and get her college degree. She went to Yale University when she was 18 years old, in 1993. Yale, which is in Connecticut, is one of the toughest and most famous schools in the country. She had to study there and work as a Roseanne actress at the same time. The routine was very hard and tiring, and most people would be worn out after it. Every Thursday, she would fly all the way to Los Angeles to film Roseanne. After that, every Sunday she would take a red-eye flight back to New York. A red-eye flight is one that takes off at night, when most people are asleep. After that, she would take a train from New York to Connecticut to get to Yale on Monday morning for class. This way of life made a young woman who was already having a hard time with the stresses of fame and being seen everywhere even more tired. Because of her busy schedule, she was always tired and barely had time to sleep or rest. But she never let the show suffer or get worse. The way she worked was truly impressive, and people who review TV shows often say how real she was as Darlene. People told her that she made the figure seem real. But behind the scenes, Sara was already carrying another big load, away from the cameras and the crowd. For a while, she was in her teens and dating one of her co-hosts on Roseanne, Johnny Gawkey, who played David Healy on the show. What began as a normal teen romance, like any other, quickly turned into the turning point that made her face her darkest fears about who she was. And what kind of person she really was. Darlene Connor and David Healy became one of the most loved and favored pairs on Roseanne. This is how the TV show was filmed. Their fans loved seeing them together. Sara Gilbert and Johnny Gale started dating as teens, but not in front of the cameras. Since they played boyfriend and girlfriend on the show, it looked like they would be a great match. Later, Sara would say that Gale was really cute, and she would also say that she had a crush on him when they first started working together. They did what most young couples do when they're dating, they kissed and made out together. But Sara soon realized something wasn't right. She had a bad feeling about something. She often felt sad, unhappy, and confused after these romantic times with Johnny. She didn't understand why being close to him by herself made her feel uneasy instead of happy and excited like it should have. She didn't understand what was wrong or why meeting a boy wasn't making her feel good. She thought about what was wrong for a long time before she realized it wasn't Gale or anything he was doing. She was the problem, or more accurately, it wasn't a problem at all, it was just the way she was. Sara was beginning to look at the truth about being gay. This means she liked women more than guys when it came to dating. That being said, Hollywood was still a hard and sometimes dangerous place for LGBTQ artists in the 1990s. LGBTQ includes bisexual, gay, lesbian, transgender, and queer people who love someone of the same gender or identity. Not the same way they were born. The thought of what would happen if people found out she was gay scared her to death. Would she lose her job as an actress and never get one again? Would casting directors, who pick actors for parts, stop giving her roles in movies and TV shows as straight people? Would her fans stop liking her or following her? She couldn't sleep because these questions wouldn't go away. She told no one but Gale about her sexuality for a long time. She didn't tell anyone in Hollywood, not even her family or close friends. Johnny was very helpful and kind throughout the whole thing, which shows what a good guy he is. When Sara finally told him how she really felt and that she was gay, he didn't reject or get angry with her. Instead, he showed her kindness and understanding. He might have been mean or told other people, but he didn't. After many years, in 2010, when Sara was getting ready to tell everyone on her talk show, The Talk, that she was gay, she asked him for permission to talk about their relationship on TV. She wanted to make sure it was okay with him for her to talk about it. His answer was yes. He told her he loved her, was proud of her, and would even go on the show with her to support her if she needed him to. Their Lincoln bond became less about love and more about being friends for life. Even after their relationship finished, they stayed close friends. It was hard for Sara to keep the secret for so long, and it hurt her mental health. For a very long time, Sara made sure that no one saw or heard about her personal life. Even when she started her first relationship with a woman, she kept it out of the public eye because she was afraid of what would happen if people found out. When she finally came out and told the truth in 2010, it felt like a big weight had been lifted off her shoulders. Although she said the fear never really went away, it was clear as day. According to an interview, she said, "I tried to act confident. But I still wonder what it's doing to my job." She was afraid that being gay in public would cause her to lose jobs or parts. For someone who had spent her teenage years being watched and judged by everyone, telling such a private and personal truth was both freeing and scary. It was very brave of them to do it. Being brave and courageous changed her life and gave hope to other LGBTQ people. That wasn't the end of Sara's problems, though. They went on into her older years. Besides the difficulties of finding out who she was and coming out, she also had to deal with loss in friendships and in love. As much as her fame as a child had shaped her, so did the tragedies that would happen to her as an adult. She kept her private life out of the public eye and away from the media for many years. Finally, Sara Gilbert found security and peace in a long-term relationship. She began going out with a TV writer named Allison Adler. These two people built a life and a family together from 2001 to 2011, which is 10 years. They were happy to have 2 children. Levi Hank, their boy, was the first child. He was born in 2004. Then in 2007 they had a girl named Sawyer Jane. People watching from the outside thought Sara had finally made the stable, loving home she had always wanted. It looked like everything was happy and right. But in 2011, after 10 years together, they broke up. Sara cried real tears on an emotional episode of her afternoon talk show, The Talk, where she was the host. She was talking about the breakup. Out loud, she asked if love could really last forever or if all relationships had to end at some point. Everyone who saw her could tell she was in a lot of pain because of the look on her face. The breakup was officially called amicable, which means that both people involved said they didn't hate each other. However, later reports said that Allison Adler was shocked and surprised when Sara moved on to someone else. This means Adler was shocked and hurt because he didn't see it coming. Many people knew about Sara's next relationship, which started just a few years later. If you didn't know Linda Perry, she was the lead singer of the rock band Four Non-Blondes. This time she did it with her. You may have heard their hit song What's Up. Their relationship was strong, public, and full of emotion from the start. Everyone knew they were seeing each other. In 2013, Linda Perry planned and organized a very fancy and complicated way to ask Sara to marry her. In a Los Angeles park, there was even a surprise musical concert with musicians and everything. Sara was so happy and emotional that she said it was the most amazing proposal she had ever seen. They were married the next year in a beautiful wedding in Malibu, California, a beautiful beach town. She said yes. In 2015, their son Rhodes Emilio came into the world. There was a time when Sara thought she had finally found the person she would spend the rest of her life with. She talked about how safe being married made her feel on the talk. She said it made her feel safer, more committed to the partnership, and ready to face problems with her partner. She looked like she was very happy with her life. But Sara's happiness slipped away again, just like it did before. Sara officially separated from her husband in August 2019, which is the first step toward getting a divorce. The legal name for this is irreconcilable differences, which means they couldn't work out their problems and didn't agree on enough things. In 2021, their divorce was official and over. In other words, they were no longer married. After the breakup, Linda Perry said in interviews that they would always be family because of their son, even though they were no longer together. On the other hand, Sara was devastated when her marriage ended. She was mentally broken and hopeless. In interviews, she said that she had been going to therapy with a counselor for months and months to work through her problems. She even tried treatment with ketamine, which is a type of therapy that uses medicine to help people deal with trauma and loss. Anyone or anything would have helped her feel better and deal with her loss and sadness. It wasn't just the losses of these relationships that hurt her. They added to the problems Sara had always had with the people that she had been dealing with her whole life. She was now raising and taking care of 3 kids by herself. She also had a tough job that took a lot of her time and energy. Every day it was hard for her to balance being a mother, her work, and her search for happiness and peace of mind. It was really hard for her to keep track of all the things she needed to do at once. All of this was going on in her personal life at the same time. Another terrible event from her past was taking place. She and the rest of the Roseanne group were still in pain over that loss. This loss would make her feel very sad and show her how fragile life is. Things went badly for Sara Gilbert as she worked to build her job, raise her family, and make her life better. Someone she cared about was hurt badly by something that happened. This was the death of Glenn Quinn, who she worked with on Roseanne. On the show, Glenn Quinn played Mark Healy. Mark was Becky Connor's boyfriend and later husband. Becky was Darlene's older sister on the show. Mark was wild but sweet. After taking too much heroin in 2002, Glenn died. He was only 32 years old, which is still very young. Heroin is a very dangerous drug that many people become dependent on. For years and years, he had problems with addiction, which meant he couldn't stop using drugs even though they were making him sick. He was clean at times, which means he wasn't using drugs and was doing better. He was often healthy and seemed to be doing fine during the first season of Rose and in the 1990s. But his demons came back to haunt him after the show ended in 1997 and shooting stopped. The fact that he has demons means that his drug problems have come back. Things went badly once more. His condition got worse before he joined the group of Angel, a spin-off show of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. This means that Angel was a new show based on characters from Buffy. He was having more and more trouble. There was shock among both the cast and the fans when he died too soon and too young. There was shock and grief all around when he died. For Sara, the loss was very close to home. They had worked together and been friends for years, so they spent many years on set together. When Roseanne was brought back to TV for a reboot in 2018, many years after Glenn's death, Sara and Johnny Gielgud had to make a choice. They talked about what to call the son of one of their characters on the new show. The time had come for Darlene and David to choose a name for their child. Sara immediately offered the name Mark as a tribute to Glenn Quinn and the person he was. Johnny Gielgud agreed right away because he knew how important it was. Because of what they did, Glenn's spirit will live on in the next generation of the Connor family. During the talk, Sara said that the choice was tough but important. They did it to remember a friend who had become like family to them all. Just as the group started to enjoy the success of the new show. When things were going well, another storm came up and bad things happened. Roseanne Barr, who used to work with and be friends with me and was the main star of the show it was named after her, sent a racist tweet on Twitter in May 2018. This tweet was about Valerie Jarrett, who worked as a White House advisor for Barack Obama. The tweet said that Jarrett, who was black, was like a monkey. Which is extremely racist and offensive. There was a strong response right away. A lot of people were angry and offended. It only took hours for ABC, the TV network that showed the show, to stop the reboot. They stopped all work on the project, ending what could have been a happy new beginning and comeback for everyone. Sara Gilbert was one of the first cast members to openly say that Barr's actions were wrong. And say something bad about what she did. She said the tweet was vile, which means gross and awful. She said that the group had nothing to do with the scandal and that they didn't agree with what Roseanne had said. But it also made Barr even more angry at Sara in particular. Roseanne felt lied to. In later talks, Roseanne Barr said that Sara had betrayed her and lied to her. She said Sara had ruined her life and job by telling the truth. It got nasty and mean in the fight. Barr yelled at Sara over and over again in interviews and on social media, but Sara stuck to what she said and didn't change her mind. They lost their professional relationship and working friendship because of what happened, and the show that had made Sara's job possible will never be the same again. Roseanne had been Sara's life for a very long time. And now this racism and debate made it bad. Without Roseanne Barr, the show went on with a new name and focus on the rest of the family, the Connors. But the damage was already done, and things would never be the same again. Sara was going through private problems that most people didn't know about while all of these public problems and dramas were going on. Her busy schedule and demanding life were taking a toll on her health and her family life. She was taking care of things behind the scenes. She had to make a change because things were getting too much for her. Between 2013 and 2019, Sara Gilbert's life was a blur of duties and obligations that never seemed to stop. Her role was on The Connors, which was like Roseanne but without Roseanne Barr. Along with being a producer, she helped decide what would happen with the show and how it would be made. Besides all of that, she was still a co-host on The Talk, the afternoon talk show she created and started almost 10 years before. She did all of this work at the same time. She was taking care of her 3 kids by herself. After she split up with Linda Perry. She was also figuring out how to deal with the end of her marriage, which was very hard on her feelings. It was important for her to keep her life in balance so it didn't fall apart totally. Something had to give at some point. She was going to break down if she kept doing everything. In April 2019, Sara told the world through tears that she was leaving the talk show. After being a show for 9 years. As she spoke, tears filled her eyes. To the people watching, she said that her life was totally out of whack. She was honest when she said she couldn't balance her work responsibilities with giving her kids the time and attention they needed and earned from their mom. At the same time, she felt proud of what she had done and made with the talk. However, she knew that she needed to take a break for her own health and the sake of her children. It was one of the hardest things she'd ever had to do. In later talks with entertainment magazines like Variety and Deadline, Sara talked about another important reason why she was glad to leave. It was her way of saying that she was naturally very private. She didn't like talking about her private life, relationships, and feelings on national TV because it put too much pressure on her to share private things with strangers. It had become too much to handle every single day. There were times when she felt like she had to tell everyone everything, but she couldn't. When she quit the show, she took back control of her own story. Again, she could choose what to share and what to keep secret. During these busy years, her health had also gotten worse a lot. She revealed that she had stopped working out and taking care of herself after the birth of her 3rd child, Rhodes. The stress of work and her kids made her forget to take care of herself. She wasn't taking care of her body by eating right, working out, or giving it any other attention. By 2017, she was making a conscious attempt and choice to get her health back. She took part in the Spread the Health Challenge put out by Prevention magazine. She promised to work out every day for just 15 minutes thanks to this program. It only took 15 minutes. Sara found that even a small amount of exercise, like going around her neighborhood, jogging at the park, or doing an hour of yoga when she had time, could make her feel much better and give her a lot more energy. Just moving around a little every day made her feel so much better. Still, the fact that she had to learn all over again how to put herself first was a reminder of how much she had given up over the years for her family and job. She had given up a lot of who she was. Sara kept having problems and challenges even after she quit the talk and made more time in her schedule. Life didn't just get easier all of a sudden. In December 2019, it was clear that she was no longer with Linda Perry. In 2021, their divorce was official and over with. Later, in honest interviews, she said that she was going to therapy and ketamine treatments to deal with the emotional pain and heartbreak of ending another romance. She said she wanted to be honest with herself and live a real life. She knew that things would get better over time, but that the battle would never go away completely. There would always be bad days. It was an open and honest statement of weakness from someone who had lived her whole life balancing strength with quiet pain that she kept to herself. In Sara Gilbert's story, the tragedy is not a single event or a big bad thing. There's more than one bad thing going on. Instead of the accumulation, the building up of heartbreak, loss, and constant stress that has been with her from youth to adulthood. From being a little girl trying to prove herself to her famous family to her teenage years dealing with fame and coming out to her adult years dealing with failed relationships and public scandals, she has always had a hard time. Sara Gilbert became famous when she was a child, and that fame has shaped her life ever since. She had problems with who she was and her sexuality, the painful deaths of friends like Glenn Quinn, and times when she was strong and kept going no matter what. She has had struggles with her identity about who she really is, been in public scandals like the Rose and Bar event, and been torn apart from the people she loved. But she still works in Hollywood after all of this. She loves and cares for her 3 kids and needs to make time for a quieter, more private life away from the press. Her story is one of surviving and not giving up, even though people were always looking at her and judging her. Even when things were very hard, she never gave up. What do you think about Sara Gilbert's life story? Do you admire how she's dealt with her problems and struggles? Are you proud that she came out and told the truth about her life? Leave a comment below and let us know. We want to know what you think. Also, please click the like button if you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. Also, click the bell icon to make sure you never miss another story about the lives of Hollywood's most famous and memorable stars.